right, we are back. Got John back here. What's up, John?
Not much. How are you guys?
Good, good. I have the triple bald guys now. That's
this is it. What I was
making me
saying when
feel
you
just
weren't
good
here,
about myself.
right? You've got
there's always
generation.
something. There's always something where 3 other people are connected, and
That's
you
right.
seem to get left out, Chris.
That's because I don't have Asians on this show. That's just that's just a rule.
There's just not enough
Wow.
Asians in esports, I think.
Yeah, especially players. Not enough Asian players. But all right,
I
but
think it's good because if you were to rearrange the windows, you could like look. It would be like the faces of meth kind of thing. Because like if you look at like Ken, you look at Ken at the start. Like that's the fresh face guy, you know, just starting on his journey into the depraved world of addiction. I am what happens after a few years, and then you've got you at the end, fresh out of rehab, John. And
oh god!
try that game at home, viewers. Faces of Meth game.
Faces of Meth. I mean, we could do the game. We could do one of these games where it's just like, who is this? You know, just like kind of flipping between you guys. Who is this? You know, type of thing. So we could do something like. I gotta remove the nameplate. Hold on. All right, which one of them is this? Who's this guy, guys? Is this John, Richard, or Ken?
Can't even see it. I had to pull it up now.
Oh, since you're on your right, it's Ken Silva. That's right.
You can tell him he's the good-looking one. What you should do is you should splice like maybe some breasts with like faces on or something. I don't know. Like, we've all got the kind of boob head going on.
Right, right. Boob head.
Boob heads. Anyway, we're having a serious
we're having a serious conversation with
potential shenanigans. That's what I want to talk about.
All right, let's continue our talk on Statdrive.
Okay, well let's do it then, because Ken, I was talking to Ken off air, and one of the great questions is a guy called Key Hunt. Love him to bits.
Yep.
He said, has he had a paycheck yet? So I asked him, what did you say, Ken?
Yes, I've had a paycheck. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I went out and put my down payment on my Porsche. It's,
Your esports Porsche?
It's actually a Hot Wheels one, but it's a start.
So you mentioned that they have a studio, a full-out studio there. Is it kind of give us an idea of the size of it? Is it NASL size? Is it?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's a little bit bigger than NASL's. I think that's necessary for the amount of staff. There's a big work area once you walk in, and then from there we got a whole bunch of rooms for the graphics guys and whatnot. And then when you go all the way to the end, we have our studio, and that's gonna have room for 2 different things going on at the same time.
And there goes Richard.
What?
Oh, we lost.
Yeah, we'll get him back in a second. Hopefully he doesn't. Oh, there he is. He's in a hotel in Valencia, guys. Spanish internet. Spanish internet.
You know, you can't make vegetarian pizzas. You can't have internet.
Okay. So, John, I know you're joining the discussion a little bit late.
Yeah, I apologize again.
That's okay. But we've been talking about just pretty much just the legitimacy of it. So I was wondering if you wanted to come in with anything. I know you haven't. You might be repeating some of the stuff we talked about, but I did want you to get any of your questions in.
And I don't know what you guys have talked about over the last hour. Again, I apologize, but I know that when this came up, I think one of the biggest concerns, and I'm sure you all addressed this from the beginning, one of the biggest things that made it feel as if this whole Statdrive thing was not legit was this huge prize payout for events. I mean, has that been addressed within the show at least? You guys talked about that large amount, and it just was huge. It was massive. So
we've just talked about just how you guys are going to pay and all that business. But we didn't talk about, even with you restructuring this all, are the payouts still going to be in just on the level of the ones that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, I'm getting in a tough position here because I know we have an announcement coming up.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
if you can't say, you can't say.
I'm just going to ask for a little bit more time, and I think that everything will make sense very soon.
Okay.
I mean, having you on the show, and I know we had mentioned this a little bit off air as I got on, but having you on the show does add, obviously some legitimacy to it. You're respected in the community. It's, it's hard to think that anyone would take a job after having worked at other places to be at a place like this if they didn't feel it was legit. So that helps a little bit. It just, you can. I hope that you could understand why there were many people, and when I posted it in the Rebirth of Esports Facebook group, why there were just many people that immediately were very skeptical of this sort of.
I'm kind of hurt. I'm not part of that group now, actually.
What?
You're not? What?
Dude, everybody's part of that Facebook. He just invites anybody and everybody.
I do. Anyone.
So.
Some people I can't
really
understand their word.
It's really exclusive because I got invited, so it better be exclusive.
It is.
Never mind.
It is.
Good.
No, it's definitely something we raised before, and like right now, there's really, if there was any cause for alarm, regarding the concerns, believe me, I would be the first to know. I care about the community a lot. I mean, heck, I got into this industry by years of my life of hard work and starting up events, and a lot of my own personal money from back when I was a manager, went to actually registering the corporation and getting Esports Canada started, and even just for the prizes of first events. So I mean, that's grassroots. I mean, for anybody, and especially you guys know as well, it's something that never really leaves you. So I mean, no matter where I go, I'm always going to have that mentality of like, is this the right thing for esports? Is this going to help the scene? Is this something that's going to work? And that's something that never leaves me. And definitely encountering all the people that I have, starting from the grassroots level and moving way up to like the corporate level. You meet all sorts of people, all types, and I've seen more organizations fail in esports, at the grassroots level than I have at the top. But you can definitely get a sense of things, when they're going to go wrong, and I haven't got that feeling yet. Everybody here has been really nice. We got some big plans, and if there was a business strategy that said, hey, let's have one big tournament, and we'll figure out how it goes from there, I would be really worried. But the fact that they have some stuff laid out that I can't get into yet.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel a little bit better, and definitely hopping on and seeing the community's comments, it's I guess a little bit refreshing that we're not saps and we're not going to buy into every idea.
I mean,
that happens.
I got to say as well though. I mean, like, just to give some kind of anecdotal evidence, like I'm not a bad guy, right? I'm all right. I'm okay. I've got a decade of experience in esports. I started at the bottom. I put my own money into events. I used to fund organisation, right? And then
he literally is.
Exactly. And now I'm the biggest fucking asshole going. But I went and worked for CGS, knowing that it was a pile of shit and that it was going to harm gaming communities, and I took an exorbitant amount of money to effectively lie and to say how awesome it was and to put up with all their shit. And that, when you take money to lie, that's kind of a no-no as a journalist. I always vowed I'd never do it again. But, I got involved with UKESA, which was a fucking scam organisation. That never paid out. I was on the council. I was going to be the guy who was steering the ship. I never saw a penny from that, but I thought, if I'm there and I can be the steward, maybe we can steer it in the right direction. No, you can't, because you're a small fucking cog in a big machine, and ultimately it's the money men that'll have ultimate control, and they'll be the guys who drive it onto the rocks or make it succeed. The bottom line will be about their profit, and when it becomes unprofitable for them to do so, or when they've projected don't work out, it's going to be guys like me and you left holding the can, and we got a fucking black mark. We got a black mark in our reputation as a good community guy. So
that's definitely a very valid point. But I mean, at some point you had to have, I guess, a valid concern that something was wrong, right? And I mean, you're the type of guy that
yes and no. Again, just to give you an idea of when those valid concerns began. With UKESA, I turned up to a fucking studio, and I got in a lift, and a guy who was naked wearing a dressing gown was in the lift, And yeah, you're all thinking, what the fuck? Okay, so I'm thinking, what the fuck? There's a guy with a semi-erect penis. You can see it kind of just poking through the dressing gown. It's absolutely true.
What the?
Is in there. Yeah. What the fuck is going on? So I'm like, okay, well, you meet some characters in esports, right? We go up to the floor. I'm like, we're stuck in this crowd. I mean, the studio was about the size of this hotel room, which is very reasonably priced at €30 a night. And when I got more into it, above us was a softcore porn studio, and it was for the adult channel in the UK. Which is,
So far, I'm not seeing any problem with this, Richard.
Right.
I'm not seeing any problem with it.
One of the investors had basically used his cupboard space. One of the investors behind UKESA had basically been using his cupboard space to host this esports event. It was a complete fucking afterthought. It was a last-minute scramble, like, what the fuck can we do to make this actually happen? And it was god-awful. The finals didn't even get played for some of the games. Anyone who went there will remember how awful it was. And prize money didn't get paid out and stuff. Now, that was when I got the inkling, when I saw that man in his golden dressing gown, nursing his semi through it, like in that lift. That was when I thought something wasn't right. But up until then, I thought it was kind of legit. And I'm a smart and savvy cat, right? But it took being in a lift with a greasy UK porn star to realize that maybe not everything was as it seems. So, smart guys can get fooled, right? Or is it just me? Like,
No, I definitely agree. I mean, for me to come on here and be like 100% everything is fine, nobody worried about that, right away, that's a flag, But the fact that we're...
It sure was. It sure was a flag. It sure was.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. Yeah, I was just asking Ken, what percentage of skepticism does he have right now?
Right now, I don't really have any reason to be a skeptic. The fact that we're looking to put the money into not necessarily escrow for our upcoming tournament. Excuse me, that's a pop. The fact that they're happy to move forward with these ideas and make sure that things are working. I mean, it reinforces the fact that I think that it's a genuine and benevolent attempt to get involved with the amateur scene and help out esports and all that good stuff. At the same time, I mean, it's hard to really invite doubt when after you've come in, you've asked your questions, you've got the explanations, everything seems fine. It's like Richard was just saying, until I see the guy with the dress or any flags like that, there's really no cause for alarm. I mean, I'm in a studio, I'm working with great people, we're about to announce some really cool things. The money, it's not going to be an issue if we can guarantee it. So I really don't have any concerns.
Well, how can you guarantee it? I mean, do you have a sense that the money can be guaranteed? I mean, are you enough in the know to know that? And then at the same time, Sir Scoot asked a question I want to ask before that is this a full-time job for you?
Right now, under contract for the upcoming tournament, everything is going to be full-time, although I do have some dates doing some contract work for the guys I love very much over at NASL. Definitely, with time focusing on Esports Canada and the things that we're working on there. So, I mean, right now it's going to take up a lot of time, but there's really no problems on my end at this point. And if there is, I would make them known. Definitely.
Are you an employee or are you a contractor?
Contracted with Statdrive.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I think Kurt wanted to take some calls. I think he wanted to ask some about the Statdrive stuff. We'll talk about Icy Cup in just 1 second, but Kurt wants to hop on here real quick, and I promised him.
I love it. Kurt's the only dude we would move the entire.
Yes, I would move the Q&A for our goat list. He's our goat list. He is our goat list. Prove my love for him.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Good. So I'm starting Q&A early just for you, dude.
Dude, we
for
had
you.
to. We had to break it up
Okay.
into 2 sections. You know how it works. Hey Ken, sorry to barge in, but I do have a couple questions, and I want to get back to what John said, because John had a great point. Like, a lot of people that are hired for things like this, whether they be tournaments or leagues or anything for that matter, they're hired to do one specific job, or like you did great with NSL with production and the tournament setting, and I'm sure you're setting up the online things and all that. But are you in the know as far as where is the money is coming from? Are you in a sponsor meeting? Are you hearing anything from Kingston or from FireFall or from Riot or from Blizzard? Are you in the know that much to know that this money is actually going to be secure for whatever upcoming you guys are announcing?
Yeah, the guys here, they're very transparent, and like, of course, like I said earlier, I can't really announce the sponsors because, we're working on, getting all that stuff secured. So once that comes out, you guys will see, definitely some familiar names in there. But it's very transparent. It's not like everything's in a closed door and we're all out here working. So it's another added comfort level for myself.
Outside of the sponsors, though, looking forward, do you see? I mean, sponsors can only support something for so long.
Definitely.
Is there an opportunity outside of the sponsors because the sponsors are going to jump on for, an ROI that's much different than the return of investment the company has to make. Is there going to be a way which to be sustainable after the sponsors basically use up what they want from it and move on? Because that happens.
Yeah, if the sponsors were the only stream of revenue, I would be concerned as well. But coming in with a business background, I know sponsorship is not a viable option for running a company, because it's going to burn out at some point, and it would be absolutely ridiculous to assume that an entire company could maintain just on sponsorship alone. So there are other things going on, but I'm not at liberty to discuss that at this point.
Okay.
But just so we're clear on that, as far as it's good to see that you guys are, that everyone there is transparent with each other and things like that. But like, I'm just trying to cover all bases. Like, is it not just them saying, hey, oh no, Kingston's going great, or Riot's going great, or Blizzard's going great? Are you hearing from someone at these companies that, yes, we want in? Are you you don't have to say what company, but are you hearing for sure this is going to happen? Like, are you secure enough to put your name, not just the name of Statdrive, on what you're going to put on?
Definitely. I mean, at this point, I think my name is tied to it because I'm, working with them. And, I'm going to just move forward and do what I do. Basically make sure that we have good tournaments, things run well, we run a tight show, and, like we discussed earlier, the payouts are made. So I'll just continue to do that, and there's really no cause for alarm. Like I said, like, these guys are very transparent. They love the business. They know the other guys. I mean, if they came in and they're like, oh, we're not sure what this esports thing is, but we want to make lots of money off it, with some fat guy behind the desk, wearing gold jewelry, definitely would be worried. But it's very down to earth.
I wish that was my boss. What are you talking about?
So outside of yourself, and this may have been a question that was asked before, but outside of yourself, when it becomes more transparent to us, the community and the rest of us, when some of these things are announced, are we going to know some of these people that are involved with this project outside of yourself?
Definitely. I mean, we were discussing, just ideas about how we can be more transparent in our meeting the other day, and one thing was just a page, basically profile of the people working here, what they do. And I thought that was a great idea, but it's in the work, and these things kind of take time to implement.
Okay.
The last question for me, at least, is you were talking earlier about how to prove to the community that you guys are legit, and I call on NESL a lot from this because, number one, Statdrive is already doing part of it, and I'm not sure if you guys can hear the thunderstorm in my background. But NESL, they were, at least to me, to someone, and I'm sure like Richard as well, a skeptic, When they first came in, they're like $300,000 over 3 seasons, no big deal. And they did so with no sponsors. I was like, what the fuck? And I think everyone else was too. But then all of a sudden, Jeff comes out and he's like, everything's good here, people. Everything's good. And everybody believed him, and it was fine. But and it worked out well. But one of the ways that they legitimized themselves is they came out and said, we've secured this through Blizzard. We've secured this, or they actually didn't say Riot, but Blizzard. You know, that Blizzard has said that we've got the money. We're good to go. Like, are you guys planning on doing that with Riot and Blizzard or whatever games you guys announce? Or you just, I mean, to me, that's a great way to do it. Is, you know, just show them that you have the money. Show them the escrow account. Show them whatever you have to prove that, you know, you're not just, you know, sitting
Definitely.
there.
That's a great idea, and you know, it's something that will get sorted on our side. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense to move forward and just be like, we don't care what anybody says. I mean, a big part of what we're doing is community based, so easing the concerns of the community is, you know, a big priority. So if we can figure out, you know, a way that's, you know, definitely fail safe. I mean, we could print out a bank statement and put it up here, but right away, you know, the first comment is going to be it's Photoshop. So we want to come up with a way and a strategy to do it where it's just going to put everybody's worries to rest.
Gotcha. I understand.
Okay.
All right, guys.
So-
Well, I appreciate it. Ken, good luck, man.
And thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Kurt.
See you guys in another hour.
Fucking loves it.
Oh gosh.
You can have my
exactly.
job. Fuck it, it's too warm. You should do that. We'll just let them host, man. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so kind of want to end out the Statdrive topic with.
Just let me do one question.
Okay,
Just
okay.
question.
One more, and then we'll end it.
Right, and then I promise, like, I'm gonna let Ken go. Yeah, right. Long.
You still got Icy Cup, dude.
Yeah, fuck. Okay, I'll go nuts on that too. But long-term goals for Statdrive, like, you know, companies always do this, like, fucking
5
stupid
years.
mission statement bullshit,
5-year
like,
plan.
or,
Yeah.
or the Stalin-esque 5-year plans, you know, like, they come up with all this knobby language to basically do, you know, if it works, then we'll still be around. If it doesn't, we won't be. But I mean, what are the plans at Statdrive? Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think we're any closer after like an hour of talking about, you know, winning over the cynics, because obviously there's things you can't divulge or whatever. But surely you can talk about long-term plans. You know, like what are the goals? Like, where does Statdrive want to be in 12 months?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, definitely a priority is getting something up and off the ground, and you know, showing that we exist. Announcing a company is one thing, but actually doing what you intend to do is another. So announcing that tournament and the Take 5, and then, you know, it getting the reception that it did, was cause to go back to the drawing board and revamp it. Excuse me. So for 2013, the goal is to basically ease our way into 2014. We're gonna announce an upcoming tournament for this year, and then 2014 we're gonna go full steam ahead with actually what our plan is. And I know you're looking for something here, but
No.
Can you say at least? And we may have already touched on this too. Can you say at least if this event is online, or will it be live, or a combination of both?
This will be primarily online.
Okay.
So little do you know, this show is actually just the part 1 of a continuing series with Ken and Statdrive. So why don't you announce all that stuff? We're gonna have you on again, man. But yeah. So anyways, I want to kind of transition over, just so we spent like an hour on Statdrive, which is great. I mean, I'm glad you able to answer those questions for us, Ken. I really appreciate that, because I know they were tough questions. And but I did want to talk a little bit about Icy Cup before we pull Deric on here. So give us a quick kind of postmortem on Icy Cup, because like, for those of you who don't know what Icy Cup was, it was the Canadian version, I guess you can call it a Canadian version of the Home Story Cup, or it was the first attempts at it, or like a test run of a Home Story Cup like tournament in the what area was it? Ontario area? It was.
Yeah, it's Pickering, Ontario.
Yeah.
It's about 30 minutes outside of Toronto, Greater Toronto area.
Yeah. And it was mainly players that were local to that area, and it was in your parents' house. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was at my dad's place. He lives by himself. It was the house I grew up in, and it's a massive place. So I mean, back when
Right.
we first started eSports Canada, we were talking about doing a team house, or definitely Team Story or Home Story Cup was a big influence for it, because that is just a great tournament. It's fun, players get in their element, it's comfortable, and the fans love to see that. So it was a matter of the guys from eSports Canada, who I got to give a big shout out to, who really pushed it to the level that it got to, because it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for all the volunteers in the Toronto area, like Songers, Jovian, definitely John Quinn, or VSG Toaster, some people know, saying that this can happen. We have a great venue, and we just need to get some players in there and a prize pool, and we can do what we've always been talking about. So it was really cool just seeing it all happen. And again, pretty much all the work was done by the eSports Canada volunteers, and I just provided the venue and helped out a little bit where I could.
So talk about the end result. Super huge success, moderate success, failure?
I'd say it was a huge success for us. It was definitely the biggest event that we pulled in. We hit a peak for our viewers. The players, the smiles on their faces, the feedback that I got from them, it was worth every effort that was made. I know definitely the stream could have been handled a little bit better. We had some issues, but aside from that, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the finals, which was an absolute blast. When Massa won, we took him outside, and we had 4 Coke bottles. We dropped the Mentos in the Coke, and the Coke shot up all around him, and we had people with Mentos and Coke spraying him. Yeah, it was really great. It was, I mean, it was just an awesome experience, and I think Massa, was just so happy, because he's been a great player. And
Oh yeah, a long time.
since NASL season 4, I've been watching him in his qualifying matches, and he's got a tremendous amount of skill. And so all the players at Icy Cup had a lot of skill, but it's just the fact that there's so much going on that nobody really takes a microscope to any particular area and say, what's going on here. So all these guys were just so grateful that they had an opportunity to get together with players that they wouldn't probably otherwise, even talk to, compare notes on builds, compare notes on everything, and have fun, and have a beer, play poker, play games. I think everybody was up till 5 o'clock in the morning just playing various different games, and it was just an all-around fun time.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of Home Story, right? We had Dennis on here too, and Richard obviously has been to Home Story, and that whole atmosphere, the camaraderie of it when you're not playing against each other is really the coolest part to see, and I think the players really appreciate too. And
it's the part of esports that it makes me sad that we need to leave behind. Not need to. I mean, I don't think we need to, but I mean, we no, seriously, we seem to be leaving it behind. If you know what I mean, as we move forward.
Oh, I mean,
you don't get that camaraderie or that kind of thing, and in any of this swanky, high polished LCS shit, or an MLG, or even an NASL. I gotta say, what's great about events like the Home Story Cup is you end up having. Indeed, like the Icy Cup, although I didn't see it, but I'll pretend I did for the purposes of the show. It's when you get that kind of almost like you get to see the people behind the players, and you get to see how they interact with each other, and it feels like what esports still kind of is, a bunch of dudes just playing games, which we should never lose sight of. I
was just thinking the same thing, Richard, is that when I talk about my involvement with QuakeCon every year, and I try to explain to people the differences between what QuakeCon is. I've never been to a DreamHack, but I imagine it's pretty similar. Is that something about DreamHack and QuakeCon that's very much different than these other ones? Is that you still have that element of just a bunch of people getting together, playing games, and enjoying each other and doing crazy things. You know what? And if you don't want to play games, you get up and you go mingle with the people that are around you that are also, that are also maybe looking to do something else. But it's just a completely different environment, and we are missing that. And that's why sometimes I've called the MLG like the WWE of esports. It's like the World Wrestling Entertainment, and it's just all about a big show. And it's gotten away from when I remember driving 2 hours to go stay at a LAN and sleep in the car, overnight, and get up, and go back in the room and play some more video games and stuff with people. And just the whole LAN and that small feel has just been missing somewhat, I think. Or maybe it's just not as prevalent It's not that it's missing. I'm sure that there's lots of small LAN parties going on everywhere, but it just feels as if it's missing from esports.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great to romanticize it now. Like, I mean, you know, my equivalent experience to that, John, would be going to an I series in the UK, sleeping in a tent, you know, and that kind of thing. But I wouldn't fucking do it now for all the tea in China. But, you know, yeah, it's awesome. Love games. Do it now, please, God no. But yeah, it's like it's the roots of esports, man. It's the heart, like. And,
yeah, I mean
it's just a shame to kind of see it almost being phased out. Like everyone wants to emulate ESPN, right? Or you know, everyone wants to be like an actual, real, bona fide sport. And it's just sad that, like, you know, what's wrong with having a bunch of dudes that kind of know each other just playing games on a bunch of rickety tables, you know? It's not the worst thing in the world. Or like just chilling on a couch drinking beers and talking about the games. And that's what we all do. I mean, the only reason esports has any truck at all is because we're a bunch of people who like can talk endlessly about something that other people think is fucking boring. Huh? So is that who's kidding? Wow, I tell you what, Chris, you need to get the backhand out, get the discipline going on. And I wouldn't expect this from an Asian family. Why isn't he studying, Chris? I'm just kidding. No, anyway, there was a point in there. We don't need to reiterate it, right? Like, I want to hear what your kid's saying.
No, you don't.
They're usually so well behaved on show night, Chris.
Hold on. Keep going. Hold on a second.
I want to know if Statdrive's legitimate. What it is.
Oh well.
Gave him a timeout. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
I nearly just spat beer all over my lap. It would have been the most abrupt end to a show ever.
Man, that's esports, man. It's esports.
Exactly.
This is the realness of esports.
See, this is the way it should
This is
be.
the
It should be
realness.
more fun and loose and family oriented.
Family oriented. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. Okay.
Bam Bam Bigelow, that sucks.
What?
Getting back on topic, I could tell you that all the players, the biggest thanks that I got was from the players, because those guys really they don't get an opportunity to play with people, you know, local to the area, and it just kind of goes back to the whole region locking area. I can say that most of the guys left that night, and they actually felt like, you know, they were part of you know, a real community, because it was a live event. We had all those guys out, and a lot of them were talking like, you know, I wish there was team houses, and for them it was something that was real for esports. I mean, definitely going to a tournament and, you know, being a number in a bracket is one thing, but, you know, being recognized as being one of the most skilled players in your area, getting them all together was a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, the biggest thing about Icy Cup, and, you know, I was obviously crossing my fingers that it would be successful, and I knew it would be successful, just with you guys running it, is that it would prove to everybody, or prove to folks in the NA, that with a low budget, like $2,500, you know, you could have this type of event, you know, with eight players, you know, pretty notable players, semi-notable players in NA, and kind of pulled off from the standpoint of logistics and everything. And then from there you can build, right? From there you can add to the prize pool and then pull in, you know, bigger players if that's what needs to happen. But, you know, Take or Dennis coming on here and saying it took $70,000 to run Home Story, you don't need that type of money to run, you know, just a smaller version of it, right? And I think that's what's amazing about Icy Cup, is that
we did it on next to nothing, and everybody who went out there had a blast. I mean, even Mike came out when he left. You know, I was like, thanks a lot for coming, man. He was like, no, this is really cool to see stuff like this happening. And that's from a guy that's, you know, been all over the place and seeing a lot of you know, tournaments and whatnot. So for such a small amount of budget, getting that done, definitely something that we will work on is, you know, the production quality, which is great. I mean, we didn't put any money into production at all. That was, you know, our friend eSC Lancelot, Tony's computer. he basically puts it in his trunk, crosses his finger, and he's like, I hope it works when I get to the other end. Plug it in.
That's
So,
awesome.
I mean, given professional equipment, I think we could really step it up, and we're talking about doing something like that again in the near future, and definitely have a whole bunch of notes on things we would like to do a lot better.
Yeah, and John can attest. I'm all about iteration, and that's really cool that y'all got that done. So we're gonna take a break here, and Ken, you want to stick around? We're gonna pull on Deric Ortiz from One Nation of Gamers just to talk about eBay charity.gg. All right, we'll be right back.